Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome to this very special session of the Doha Debates, sponsored by the Qatar Foundation. As you can see, we've left our normal home in the Gulf to come to the UK and to the world-famous Cambridge Union, founded almost 200 years ago. The Union takes its members from Cambridge University, which hasn't always looked kindly on its activities. In the 1800s, the university authorities tried to shut it down, claiming it was, among other things, a waste of time. Tonight, we'll try not to live down to their worst expectations. British policy in the Middle East has taken a battering in recent times, with the endless bloodshed in Iraq, stalemate between Israelis and Palestinians, and the government's refusal to call for an immediate ceasefire in last year's conflict in Lebanon. So does Britain merely follow where America leads, or does it have an independent and useful role to play in the region? In other words, a key player or a rapidly fading star? Our motion tonight: this House believes that Britain's role in the Middle East is in terminal decline, and we have some high-level guests to debate it. Speaking for the motion, Shlomo Ben-Ami. He's a former foreign minister of Israel who served in office between 2000 and 2001. He took part in a number of important peace talks, including the final Camp David summit, and is now co-chair of the Toledo International Center for Peace, based in Spain. With him, Baroness Falkner of Margravine. She's the first Muslim peer for the Liberal Democrats and speaks widely on issues relating to Muslim integration and multiculturalism. 2 years ago, she joined the Prime Minister's task force on tackling Muslim extremism. Speaking against the motion, Raghida Dergham, columnist and senior diplomatic correspondent for the London-based Arabic daily Hayat. She's also retained as a political analyst by NBC, MSNBC, and the Arab satellite channel LBC, but somehow found time to join us this evening. And with her, Sir Malcolm Rifkind. He served for 2 years as Britain's Foreign Secretary in the mid-90s. He was also Defence Secretary, Secretary of State for Scotland, and Transport Minister. He's currently MP for the peaceful constituency of Kensington and Chelsea, but speaks widely on the Middle East and other areas of conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, our panel. So now let me call first on Shlomo Ben-Ami to speak for the motion, please.
Thank you. My first point is obvious, yet needs to be mentioned. And it has to do with the nature of the historical process. The decline of Britain is a phenomenon that started in the wake of the Second World War, and it continued until this very day in the Middle East. The major assignments of a superpower that is protecting the oil supplies in the region and having a leverage on the political elites has been taken over by the United States, inevitably. I think that nothing reflects better the clout of the Americans in the region than Annapolis. Even after the debacle in Iraq, it is only America that is capable of bringing all the Arab leaders, practically all the Arab leaders, to Annapolis to try and launch an Israeli peace process. My second point has to do with Iraq. I think that Iraq reflected and at the same time enhanced the decline of Britain in the region. Britain came to the war with an inflated sense of its military and political capabilities. It was unable to bridge the gap that opened between America and its European allies. That was its natural mission, being a European power, just as a friend of the United States. It failed in that, and it became true that its military role in the region was, in the war, was dispensable. Now, the outcome of that was that Britain's reputation in the region was tarnished very, very seriously, and it lost its capacity to be a force for good or for change in that part of the world. My third point has to do with Britain's role in peacemaking in the region. In the major conflicts, Israel-Palestine, Israel-Syria, Lebanon, Turkey, Kurdistan, Britain is practically absent. There is no British leverage on these major conflicts in the region. The question is, who makes a difference, a real difference, in conflict resolution, in peacemaking, in peacekeeping, and in all these chapters? I think that Britain is evidently in a decline. Thank you.
Shlomo Ben-Ami, thank you very much indeed. You criticize Britain, but who's done any better? Your country hasn't been so good at making peace in the region, has it, for 55 years?
You're right, but we are talking about external powers, and
we're talking about effectiveness of diplomacy, aren't we? Britain has tried. Who's tried harder?
Well, where did Britain try in the Israeli-Palestinian process?
It tries. It keeps stressing the need for a two-state solution. It keeps backing the Palestinians. It keeps paying for the Palestinians' salaries. It keeps trying to support institutions, the building of institutions. You have Tony Blair out there at the moment trying to build institutions with the Palestinians. Who's doing more? Who's doing more?
The United States, obviously.
Well,